scholars, activists, and artists to this campus for panel discussions, presentations, and performances, films that address the regeneration of Champa. So in choosing the word regeneration, we are very deliberate. We have an idea that the next generation and future generations happen through this idea of a generation, right? But to regenerate something also brings it alive again. And we will remember the legacy of the Kingdom of Champa, but we're also looking to the future, to new forms of expression and identity that help us conceptualize a changing identity that can still have a connection to being Cham and to Champa as a kingdom and as a place from which we all descend. So I'd like to start out by thanking our sponsors. We have several sponsors that have helped make this conference possible. Southeast Asians Furthering Education, which is here at UC Davis, has been tremendously supportive to us, and we cannot thank them enough for all of the assistance and the financial help that they've given. The Asian American Studies Department here, which Professor Valverde is representing, has also helped us financially and logistically put this conference together. Native American Studies saw the linkages between indigeneity for Cham people and indigeneity as looked at in North America. And by indigeneity, I mean the original people of a place. And so Native American Studies wanted to support our conference, even though it isn't, they're not centered on things that focus in Asia, because they see similarities to what we're trying to do as an indigenous people and what Native American Studies does as an approach to thinking about the original people of North America. The International Office of Champa, IOC, has also been very crucial for us in organizing this conference and supporting it with manpower, with donations. The Council for the Social Cultural Development of Champa has also helped us a great deal. And Champion Printing has donated part of the cost of our beautiful banner back here as an in-kind donation. So we are grateful for all of these sponsors in helping us put this conference together for you. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn over the podium to my collaborator and co-conspirator and co-director, Aziza, who will also give a shout out to two of our staff members who've helped us and who are probably running around helping us right now out there really make this conference a success.
I want to recognize Asma Man and Amina Said Matthews, who are running around right now, getting all the logistics done, and everyone who's been a part of this process. And we'll do some more thank yous towards the end, because I know kind of trying to move a long time. So I'm gonna practice my jamming skills right now, so bear with me. Assalamualaikum. Hulan ngan Aziza and Haji Ahmad Hajati Gas Sacramento. Stop a be hulan pat undikun. Now pa om miwa tais I my conference sky name. A be hulan ngap gu kai nay, pagay kapang sa jampa pa tawa, jam tau dak, jam plai go, jam pang ban, tan kai 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 nang hasa man hasa ban sa kan kai ti kau o. Happy hulan pagay kai nay gap plai go, pang ban tau dak. Tan kai kai pagay thay chap gun khảo. Abi hulan ken kai hatan thao asal jam kai mai mung lai mai. Tan mang kai nei na tanao happy hulan ken kai happy thay thay bom khảo kai chnom khảo ngạ pai ngạ yau phơ kai bang sa kai hu sam cơ na tanao. Hai nei ta kệ trong giàu ở tàu kila mà áp phải hulan hai. Chúng ta nhớ hulan cao phật phật nuôi wassalam. today. But I would like to bring up a very huge supporter of this conference. She was there at the very beginning, very supportive. She was a prior professor of mine when I was a student at UC Davis. So Professor Gillen Valverde, if you could come up and have some kind words for us.
Thank you. Salam Samin, and just quickly, just an honor to be here among the community here. So welcome CHAM scholars, activists, artists, students, community members, allies, and friends in attendance for this groundbreaking conference poignantly titled Regenerating Champa, Transitioning Identity from Past to Future. As a professor of Asian American Studies and as a mixed-race Vietnamese American, I'm professionally and personally aware of the importance of first fighting for the right to speak and write of our histories, and then working towards exposing and sharing with others this history. In particular, those coming from the next generation, so that we all know our stories and have pride in our origins. For example, today, we have Professor Podamar from the French School for Asian Studies. He will be discussing the English translation of Lafont's book, The Kingdom of Champa. And I left the book, the signed book, on my bag. Here, Lafont combined evidence of epigraphic records, the Chinese-Vietnamese annals, the Cham language manuscripts, and the accounts of Western and Arab seafarers to provide historical information on Champa's rich history. Professor Dama wrote the preface and negotiated 2 years for the English translation. So please don't miss this, the talk during the lunch program. Of course, this expansive history lives on today in the Champa communities of Southeast Asia and in diaspora. But the fragile communities are often under threat. One of the most pressing concerns is the building of a nuclear plant in the lands they occupy in Vietnam. So activists like Julie Underhill and Aziza Ahmed, who also happen to be amazing co-coordinators of this program, and others have fought and continue to mobilize at the global level to protect those at the local level. I very much look forward to their activism panel of session 2, where this and other issues around activism will be discussed in more detail. These are examples of what is in store for us today at Regenerating Champa. It also represents for us in ethnic studies the commitment for relevant, representative education and social justice. That is why UC Davis is proudly hosting Regenerating Champa, especially in partnership with Asian American Studies, Native American Studies, and SAFE, the Southeast Asians Furthering Education. We recognize early the visions and motivations of the organizers of the phenomenal conference program of Regenerating Champa. It is not just about the struggle to unearth the past, but also about the struggles to revive a phenomenal culture and keep it not just from extinction, but to help it grow and thrive. I'm sure we will see this with afternoon cultural performances. This is Regenerating Champa. So thank you very much.
So before we start on our first panel, I would like to make a couple of reminders for the audience. One, please give your attention to those who are speaking. Also, please do not give your phone a speaker to compete with the attention you're giving to the people speaking. So please silence or turn off your cell phones so that there's no phones ringing or songs playing that indicate that your phone is ringing. Another important thing is the speakers. Everyone speaking today, we have a timekeeper in the front row who will hold up a sign. When they hold up that sign, it's for real. Do what you can to stay to the allotted time so that we can remain on time if possible. We are running a little late this morning, but we have a 2-hour lunch, and hopefully it will absorb some of our tardiness. See, that's a perfect example of why we need to turn off our cell phones. But thank you for setting that great example of turning it off. It makes me feel relevant when what I say is immediately recognized as something that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so with that in mind, should we get started on the first panel? Okay, so I'm going to invite up somebody who I know by several names. Sean Habib Arnoon will be here to help us get started. He will moderate our first panel, which is on Champa history. And some of the guiding questions are in the program, but I will turn this over to him in just a moment. But this session really helps us look at Cham history from the perspective of Champa itself, from the perspective of the Cham that live in Cambodia, which is the largest diaspora in Cambodia today, and also the Cham diaspora in the United States, with which many of us are part of. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the panel over to the moderator who will get us started this morning. And please give a round of applause to the panelists as we get started. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Okay, this is really a tough act to follow after the opening sessions and all the warm welcome from the organizers, as well as Professor Kulin Valverde. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to sit up here and moderate the first session, Champa 101. So the time is running short, so I just want to go briefly introduce the panelists. The first one I'd like to introduce is Podakma. Podakma is one of the leading scholars on the history and the civilization of Champa. He has published over 60 articles and over 20 books on Champa history and anthropology. So he's decorated with a lot of merits regarding to his research. So he has, I mean, if you speak in length, there's page and pages talking about his work. So I would highly recommend you to Google it and find out more about his research. The second panelist I would like to introduce is, in order, Marimas. She's currently a PhD student at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And she's focusing her research on the second Cham generation identity and how the social political formulate their identity in the United States. And last but not least is, I'd like to introduce Farina So. Farina So is a doctorate student of global study at the University of Massachusetts at Lowell. Please give a warm welcome to Farina So. Yeah, she traveled from Massachusetts to be with us here today, and it's a long journey, as well as most of us here. Her topic today, Farina, is about the intergeneration Cham dialogue. It involved in the Khmer Rouge. She will focus more in detail about that. So first, I would like to introduce Podakma, give a speech about the outline of Champa history for all of us to share.